maybe understand some of that stuff, but there's certain ways you do things to cut back on oil leaks. Well, I would listen to that. Not everything, but I would listen. Well, today, my brother's like, go to Uncle Mikey, have him work on your car. I hate working on cars. So, but now you go to work on a house. I don't like working on houses. I get my brother to do it. But that's why the Bible is also an instruction manual. We always want instruction manuals for everything. And, I'd love to, have an instruction manual how to make a lot of money or do this or that. I've got an instruction manual on what Mike needs to be doing, and it's right here. But when we learn from our history or somebody else's and then we got the instruction manual, boy, it can make life a lot easier. Any comments or questions? Get awful quiet.
Words of their cry seem fine, but God's response that he saw something lacking in his. When they cry out to them, that really just wish they different. Crying out to God with a blessing.
Right. And we'll see that toward the end of this chapter, how they cry out. But then are they really dead serious on crying out to the Lord? Because there's one little comment in here when we get on into, I think it's verse 15. It is. It's verse 15. When we get to verse 15, that kind of hits the comments, that we've. I know I've told my parents in the past, and we see the Israelites do that to God. But yes, are they truly sorrowful for what they've done? And as you read on, if you go through the other chapters, 11 and stuff, you see, I think it was Trey that taught on Japheth one several years ago, and the vow he made to God, what was going to happen and what it entailed and all kind of stuff. But anyway, see what they all have to go through later on.
It's like preach Sunday morning and reach out. And are you reaching out for his hand? Or are you saying, what are you actually helping the hand? Seeking God's face.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you truly seeking? Help or the Lord's face?
Sorry, they got caught.
Right. Yes.
That's where the Israelites, they were sorry, they were suffering, slavery. Sorry. God.
That's right. That's exactly right, Danny. And I mean, most of us lived that. When we got caught doing something, that's what we were sorry for. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. 100%. Any others? It's good. I like it when we do. We love it when everybody comments on something and says stuff. Verses 11 through 13. And the Lord said unto the children of Israel, did not I deliver you from the Egyptians? And just remember these numbers, because here we go again with the numbers. The Egyptians, the Amorites, and from the children of Ammon, from the Philistines, the Sidonians, the Amalekites, the Mennonites. It ain't the Mennonites, it's Manoanites. Did oppress you, and he cried to me, and ye cried to me, and delivered you out of their hand. Yet ye have forsaken me, and served other gods, wherefore I will deliver you no more. That would be a rough one to really hear. But again, with all of the ones the Lord delivered them from, you got the number 7 again. The same number pops up. So at one time, he completely delivered them from their enemies. But moreover, the Israelites had totally forgotten what God had done for them. Have totally forgotten. I've done that. I mean, we do that. Forget what God has truly delivered me from. Delivered you from a health issue, delivered you from drugs or alcohol. We've known a lot of people, and I've got most of us probably have family members that's on that stuff, and I've seen some of them delivered and some of them not. But the mercies and grace that I have that just don't ever cross my mind. The mercies and the grace He shows us every day on things that we totally take for granted. The air that you breathe, the air that you put in your tires, the gas you put in your tires, the job you got, the electricity when the light comes on, the TV when it comes on. I mean, the gravel on my driveway that I take for granted and get mad when it washes away and I have to waste diesel dragging it back up. Well, hey, there's something else. I'm not using a mule to pull that gravel back up there or a shovel. I can go to the grocery store and buy my groceries. I don't have to raise a garden anymore. I don't have to do that stuff. You don't have to can unless you want to. There's a lot of things that He's give us a lot of grace and mercy and a lot of gifts in this country that I take for granted every day. Standing right here, take for granted a lot of times. Now, I'm appreciative and I love it. I tell Paula, I said, I don't know why I get nervous, and I know I'll probably say this every time, but the day I'm not nervous is the day I'm going to really, really worry. Is when you stand up here or you teach, if you're not nervous in some form, something's possibly wrong. I can't tell you what's wrong. That's between you and the Lord. But, and I've been not nervous until I walk up here. Oh, Lord, I'm not nervous. And then get up here and it's worse than it's ever been. But it's great. And I don't like being nervous. But try to remember, and he hit me this week of making me think of every little tiny thing that I take for granted or get angry at to be appreciative of that He has given me. Any comments? Verse 14. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. Some people's going to read that and we're going to be like, I thought He was a merciful and graceful God. Well, He is. He's being merciful and graceful right here by making them truly realize what they have done by forsaking Him. You borrow the money for a car or something or a home, you try to go to the bank and they won't get it, then you got to go beg your mom and dad or this or that to co-sign for you and this, that, and another. Nope, I ain't going to do it. You're going to have to keep working to save your money. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn how I'd learn. Okay, I got you. But God's teaching them a lesson here. But He's also making them, of course, realize and really think that the gods that they've been worshiping and praying to and carrying on with, they can't deliver them, as what it boils down to. Verse 15. And the children of Israel said unto the Lord, We have sinned. Do thou unto us whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Deliver us only, we pray thee, this day. So here we are. Just one more time. Just do this for me one more time. Just this one more time, Mom. Can I have this toy car? Can I have this G.I. Joe? Or I don't even know what to play with anymore. SpongeBob, or I don't guess that's SpongeBob. What's a big, I don't even know what toys are nowadays. Some of these kids, I'm too old now. But I can remember going to the Walmart bag, just one more G.I. Joe. Can I just have this? And back then there was only $1. So that's been a while back, a day or two ago. But one more time. And here they are asking the Lord, just this one more time, just today, this day, deliver us. They seem like they know where they've messed up. By we have sinned. They knew they had sinned. They admitted to it. And at least now they're crying to the right God, truly crying to the God that can fix the situation and make it better.
Are they saying that good means best? Is that how they're using the word good?
Yes. Dan's shaking his head yes. So if pretty much they're kind of saying that if it's good for them to keep staying where they're at, then leave them there.
You think they're saying whatever your will is, Lord.
Yep. And, exactly. And if you read chapter 11, you'll actually see a little bit here at the last two verses, but chapter 11, you see what they have to go through. Well, you'll just see it here in chapter 10, the last two verses, what they're having to still go through even after praying to God. Verse 16. And they put away the strange gods from among them and served the Lord, and his soul was grieved for the misery of Israel. So they put away, they departed, they left their false gods, they got rid of them, moved them away. Got rid of those, cried out to God, and served, of course, the only true God. Go ahead and go to Isaiah 63:9. In all of their affliction, he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his pity, he redeemed them, and he bare them and carried them all the days of old. God has, when we, repent, as you see here as Israel repented, God had compassion and mercy on them. He didn't it made me think of a parent that, as my mom would be whipping me or something, like, I don't want to do this. And I was like, it seems like you really want to do this. But how you hear most parents and you get somebody else, I just don't like whipping my kid, but I know I have to because it hurts. It hurts a parent or a grandparent to something to have to discipline a kid. God feels the same way, but God, being a just and honorable God and a loving God and a perfect God, has to cast judgment, punishment. You have to do that because he can't be around it, can't deal with it. Furthermore, he cannot allow his people to keep on in sin. So I think people that, I don't know 100%. I believe people that I know that are saved, but they're way out in this world, and it's like, boy, that's a dangerous place to be when you're his child. But you're out in this world doing what the world wants you to do. You're in a very, very dangerous situation. I would go as far as saying, because I've seen it with my own eyes, your days are short in this world if you're his and you're living a sinful lifestyle. You'll read and you'll see God had mercy and grieved him, and it was misery for him. It's hard on us. He don't like seeing us go through sickness. He don't like us seeing us have to deal with a family member dying, looking for jobs, money troubles. He don't like that. But that's things that we have to go through to learn from. It's just like back to a kid. You give a kid everything it wants, it's going to be spoiled. And it's just going to roll the roost, and you're just going to give it a bottle every time it cries. You're going to buy it a toy every time it asks for it. You're always going to give it candy every time it asks. Later on, when they're 12, 14, 15-year-old, they're not going to listen no more. They're going to think they own the house, and then it's game on. You've about lost a 10. So there's things that we have to go to, the trials and troubles. But always remember, God is with you, and he loves you, and he grieves with you. He don't like seeing his people suffer. So he's grieving with you and for you. Any comments? Or we only got like 4 verses. We'll go to verses, the last 2 verses, 17 and 18. Then the children of Ammon were gathered together and encamped in Gilead, and the children of Israel assembled themselves together and encamped in Mizpah. And the people and the princes of Gilead said one to another, what man is he that will begin to fight against the children of Ammon? He shall be head over all of the inhabitants of Gilead. So here you see they're leaderless. God didn't put them a leader in. Right now they don't have a judge. They're being judged by God, by the Philistines and the children of Ammon. But here we kind of see them slip. First thing they do in verse 17 or 18, the people and the princes go to each other and we all start talking. Hey, who are we going to get to lead us? We got to find somebody to lead us. They left the number one person, God, out first is who they should have went to. But nope, they're going to start falling back to their own devices and talk amongst themselves. Who do we want? They're worried. I mean, they're completely surrounded by the enemy, so they're worried at this point. So that's why they're trying to find somebody instead of just taking the time and praying. And even to the point, like say, if you go into chapter 11, you'll see it talks about right there at the last sentence in verse 18. He shall be head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. Here they're going to bribe somebody to take charge and rule over them. If you do this, if you take this job, then we're going to put you over everybody. So even to the point of bribery, that they're going to talk to somebody. Any comments or questions? Got 2 verses, very common verses in 2 Chronicles that most people either know by heart or have heard several times. Go ahead and go to chapter 7 of 2 Chronicles. Chapter 7, verse 13. If I shut up heaven that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people. Go ahead, Trey. If my people, which are called by my name, shall... So before I read on, I figured it'd be better just to kind of talk. So if the Lord's going to shut up the rain, and here, I don't know, what was it, Paula? 2 months ago, every day I was like, boy, I wish it'd rain. I wish it'd rain. We need rain. You spread a few $1,000s worth of fertilizer and it rains one time and you're like, I need rain. Lord, I need rain. I got to get caught up. It's a lot of money. I'll just throw that on the ground. Lord, I need rain. And it rains at one time. Like, well, thank you, Lord. Got the nitrogen in the ground, because these farmers that tick you off going down the road with their hay wagons, their buggies, they're pulling fertilizer and they're driving 40 mile an hour. Well, fertilizer's over $800 or something a ton, and when you spread triple 19, you're looking at, 300 pounds an acre. When you do the math on 40, 50 acres of land of how much fertilizer you got to put out. You start doing that math and you start figuring that money, it starts hurting. So they're trying to do it right before the rain. You want to try to spread your fertilizer 2 days before the weather people say it's going to rain, and don't believe them because they're always wrong. Seems like. But people do that. You have to watch your hay. You got to watch your hay. I was always taught from my granddaddy on, who's been dead and gone for 20-something years or longer. If the weather people say less than 40% chance of rain, cut your hay. If it's 50%, do not cut your hay. Don't do it. You'll probably get it wet. But if you don't get rain in time on this nitrogen that these farmers are going up and down the road on, that nitrogen will evaporate off the ground and you lose it. You get your phosphorus and your other potash and stuff like that, but you don't get your nitrogen, which your grass wants. So if the Lord calls and dries it up, well, then you don't get hay. You don't get all this stuff that you need. Then farmers go to selling their cattle off. And you sell your cattle off here, like a lot of farmers have, because the prices got so high, to regenerate those numbers, then you go buying them from out west where we've been hauling them. And you're going to pay 10 times more for those cattle than what you're paying for these. So that's why it's so important because I got to the point, it's like, I'm going to have to load up half these cows. I've got to take them to sell because I will not have no hay, and I can't buy the hay because nobody's cutting it. And you can watch all these farmers when they cut this hay and about when they'll cut it almost every year, like clockwork, within a week. But that's why, like the rain, but if the Lord cuts off the rain, a few years ago, the locusts coming in and starting to eat, the leaves and the cicadas and all that, all the noise they make, that comes in. If pestilence comes among my people, pestilence, COVID, funky diseases, things that you see is pestilence. That's a true pestilence. It ain't gnats and flies most of the time. Can be, but most of the time it's some sort of disease. The Lord may allow that stuff to happen, and I think in the past few years we have seen some of this stuff. But in verse 14, if my people which are called by my name, and this kind of hit me. I've heard Rick preach this, read it, others, shall humble themselves, humble ourselves, pray, seek my face, turn from our wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. If I leave any of that out that I'm supposed to do, I won't. It don't work. We can. I can pray about something, but if I don't truly humble myself and truly seek God's will for me or the prayer, I'm not doing what I got to do. And when it comes to salvation, Jesus Christ, the Lord's going to call us. Jesus Christ is going to save us. But you have to answer that call. You as a person have to answer that for yourself. I can't do it. Rick can't do it. Mom and Daddy can't do it. You have to do it for yourself. So these things that we have to do as a single person and as a group of people, because it says if my people, if one Israelite would have completely turned away and done exactly what they're going to do, wasn't going to make a difference. Might have for them, that one person, but the whole people. And made me really think I would love, and you get a touch of it from a few politicians every once in a while, but it goes back to what your comment was, Charlotte. Are they really crying to seek his face? Are they truly crying to seek him? I think there's probably one or two that probably are. The rest of the 700-800 of them that's up there running around spending our money, I kind of don't think so. I really don't believe it because I don't see no change. I mean, we got people dying in Iran every day. Not getting on either one of that, how I side with any of that. I support Israel. But we look at the diseases going on. We look at the sickness. We look at everything. But, boy, we got something passed through Congress. We're worried about daylight savings time. We're going to fix that. But let me tell you, and some of you may remember this, they done this in 1974. Stayed on daylight savings time for a few years in 1974. Well, it was so bad because the times and the way everything worked out, people begged and screamed and yelled to go back to swapping times. Now, I'm for not swapping my clock, but God's got things set up for a reason. And he's got your body set up for a reason. You pay attention to the Mennonites down there that don't have electricity. Raise up before sunlight, eat their breakfast, start work at sunlight, they go to bed right after dark. You can ride down through there, I've done it several times. You ride around down there 10, 11 o'clock at night, there ain't nobody. It's dark. There ain't nobody around, and you're weaving around through there, and you finally get to the house that you're needing to tell them, hey, somebody's needing to talk to you on the phone, or blah, 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 or for like Paulo rushing them to the hospital and back because kids are sick or something like that late at night, But it's a desert down there. There's nobody out there at night. But they done the time change in 1974, and it didn't work out for them. Of course, nowadays, my mind says all these people that play video games, stay up all night watching TV and all that, they'll probably be all right with it because, 9, 10 o'clock when it's going to get daylight in the winter, because that's what's going to happen is 9:30 during the end of December and January, it'll be daylight, but it'll be dark up until then. But we can fix that, and we're worried about daylight savings time and getting another hour of daylight so I can play some golf or, I don't have to flip my lights on my tractor when I'm coming back out of the hayfields or out of the field feeding cows. I won't have to do that. And then I'm going back in the house and warming up because it's cold outside. That's what I'm going to do. But we can fix that and work on that in our politics, but we cannot work on anything else that truly matters. And I just pray and hope that they would truly cry out for the Lord to forgive them, turn their mindsets, show them truly, because you see what happens here. They were sold into slavery. You can imagine what was going on during this time. Those 18 years that they were having to deal with these, the wars, the death, losing your wife, losing your kids, losing your husband. That can happen to us. But it's so simple if we just turn away from our sins and call out upon him, pray to him, seek his face. He'll heal and forgive our land. That's all my little soapbox, I guess. That's all the verses I have. Has anybody got any comments or anything they want to say or add to, take away? Thank you. I don't think that, but I mean, yeah, that's just me. But, well, I appreciate everyone. Thank you, everyone on Facebook. Y'all have a good evening and a good rest of your week. Be safe. I'm waiting on if we're done with Facebook or not. Waiting on Donnie.